KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
Hafa day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Weekend Edition. I'm Matsuki Hirayama. So glad you could join us. The Guam Power Authority will take the hot seat this week before senators to go over the recent audit released by the public auditor. The topic on the agenda for a legislative oversight hearing. The audit was conducted on credit and debit card use for both GPA and the Guam Waterworks Authority. Auditors found both were non-compliant with the law and regulations. Among the issues, GPA had $70,000 in purchases, but no record the agency paid the lowest responsible vendor. Also, auditors note an employee used a credit card for a personal trip from Houston to Las Vegas, and GPA used the card spending $35,000 for 68 on-island purchases, which is not allowed. The public auditor recommended corrective actions to help bring them into compliance. The issue are set to be discussed during an oversight hearing this Friday at the Guam Congress Building in Hagåtña. Officials will also talk load shedding mitigation plans and timelines. Policing the police. Allegations of records tampering and unlawful searches are among the latest to make its way to the Guam Police Chief's desk. Tonight, part 4 of KUAM's interview with Chief Stephen Ignacio, who admits his staff are held to a higher standard. Nick Delgado reports.
A Guam Police Department dispatcher who tried to become a police recruit is now in hot water alongside another employee on the force. The dispatcher was not hired due to her case in local court that's since been expunged.
Although records are expunged, even by court order, they are still part of our law enforcement records, and they're available as part of our background investigations, or we make them available to other law enforcement agencies.
It's prevented them from moving her application forward.
What we're hearing is since this dispatcher already has networked within the police department, that she went to a certified instructor, trainer for GPD to have them delete all those records. Are you aware of that, and is that being investigated?
Yes, it is being investigated. I was just made aware of that again just last week, and we are aware that certain actions were taken by certain employees, so we're looking into that allegation and seeing what if any, violations may have occurred.
Certainly sounds that the allegations are criminal and could even be federal offense.
Yeah, and we're working with closely with the criminal investigation to see what any crime was committed. Because we know we're now talking about tampering with records.
Serious allegations now leading to that certified instructor being investigated by the police department. A separate internal affairs investigation is expected following a recent order from the Supreme Court of Guam that found officers unlawfully searched a drug defendant.
One officer, claims that there was consent given. The other officers who responded couldn't articulate if consent was given or not, and at what point was consent given, if any.
Chief Stephen Ignacio says it is a procedure to ensure officers get consent.
It's a good time for us to look at maybe some of our training.
He admits refresher training is needed, adding it's their duty to also police the officers and making sure each one from the top brass on down uphold the law they swore to enforce.
This last question is for the officers that see what happens day in and day out, who are maybe concerned that we're picking and choosing still what cases get investigated and what cases you send to IA.
Yeah. No, every case that comes across my desk that requires internal affairs investigation will be investigated accordingly. And we hold our officers accountable. And there's many different ways in which discipline is administered.
No word how soon an IA or criminal complaint could be launched against the officers. Nick Delgado, KUAM News.
A correctional officer is suspended, but the officer in question is a canine recently brought on to sniff out contraband. Julianne Hernandez has the story.
Man's best friend Saba, a black German Shepherd seen here excited and ready for duty with the new canine unit at the Department of Corrections. But the officer is in the doghouse until further notice. This following 2 separate incidents last December. DOC Director Fred Bordalio.
Saba bit the instructor. And what happened is the instructor had to get medical attention. And then I guess the handler was, still training with Saba, and I can't recall whether it was a couple of days later he bit the handler, Saba. So we immediately stopped them, and we have to get the dog evaluated.
With Saba's suspension and the exit of former Deputy Director Andrew Atogui, who was a certified canine instructor, Bordalio says it puts a pause on the growth of the program.
These canine dogs, it's a very, it's very complex in terms of their adjustment. Remember, they traveled for a long distance to get to the island.
The cost of the canine unit is $112,150. This includes the transportation, food and vet services, and travel expenses for the handler and trainer. Local funds were used to buy the dogs. Other expenses were through the ARPA funds. Bordalio says talks are planned with the vendor and local handlers and trainers interested in Saba.
In the meantime, we're also collecting some of that same input from current on-island individuals who've trained law enforcement, and I believe even the Guam Police Department may be investing on canines from the same vendor.
His partner Alpha still remains active and working with DOC. Meantime, it's a wait and see for the prison to determine if Saba will be able to go back on duty. Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
A longtime educator takes off his teaching hat and puts on his writing cap. Retired teacher and coach Tom Renfro shares how his first book, The Chrysalis Christmas Tree, came about.
One December night, longtime educator Thomas Renfro was driving home with his family when he felt someone or something watching him from his tautamona tree.
The light shined at the tree, and there was all these eyes looking at us from the tree. Lots of eyes. And I said to the kids and everybody, like, do you guys see that in the tree?
What he thought was the watchful gaze of ancestors?
Because the Tatamona lives in the Nunu tree. And it's like, this is Tatamona's looking at you.
Was actually dozens of chrysalises of the native blue-banded king crow butterfly. Their shiny gold cocoons reflected the light from his car headlights and looked like Christmas ornaments during the holiday season.
And so I was fascinated. So I thought, man, it's close to Christmas. I'm going to go get a small Christmas tree from dollar store or whatever, 2 feet high, 1 foot high, whatever. And I got up in that tree and I got some scissors and a strainer, a spaghetti strainer.
After asking permission, he carefully gathered the chrysalises and made what he calls the most magical Christmas tree.
These things change color. The ornaments are so beautiful, it looks like somebody painted them. People ask me, how did you paint the ornaments? And it's nature painted, and they're metallic.
And just like magic, the butterflies hatched come Christmas morning.
And darned if on Christmas Day, we had butterflies flying around.
He took that experience over a decade ago and made it into a story. Whether it was science or soccer, after spending 30 years teaching in Guam, Renfro took off his educator hat and put on his author hat.
I was busy during COVID. I knew this was coming. I knew retirement was coming, and what am I going to do when I retire? 2 summers ago, I started to say, okay, I'm going to write down some of these stories that all my students told me I should write down.
Though he admits it was a rocky journey getting his first book published.
It took a long time, and I tried hard to get it into Guam Press, and they rejected me twice. And I finally got into this one. Literally, this is what it took. It was somebody answered the phone finally. I didn't get somebody that said, recording that says, we'll call you back. This was a publishing house thing. A real person answered the phone.
Now he proudly presents The Chrysalis Christmas Tree, a 43-page paperback book that can be found on Amazon.
It's really kind of unique because I went in Barnes & Noble, in Stateside, and I looked and looked and looked for a tropical Christmas. There is none. It's all snow and pine trees.
And whether you're 8 or 80 years old, he says it's a tropical Christmas story everyone can enjoy.
All the butterflies in the northern Marianas Islands saw the butterflies from Guam. And they started communicating to each other, all the Tatamonas, saying, where have we been? We've been separate. We need to be together.
While it's a children's folktale, there's a hint of the political intertwined. He hopes that among older readers, it sparks a conversation on statehood.
Now we bring you to what's trending this week on social media. To top off the new year, we get in on the interesting yet chilling AI expansion trend. Take a look. And now here's Jason Solis with all you can stream this weekend from the Gridiron and the Hardcourt for live sports on KUAM.
Here is what we have for all the sports streaming and showing on KUAM TV this weekend. All right. First off, get up early because on KUAM TV 11, Mississippi State at South Carolina. What happens when Bulldogs go and travel and they fight Gamecocks? A dog against a rooster? Find out. 3 a.m. tip-off for that one. TCU is traveling to Lawrence to go take on the Jayhawks of Kansas. 5 a.m. tip-off for this one. This is a good one, a big game in the Big 12. Make sure to watch that. Also, UNLV and San Diego State are two schools in the States. You know, lots of Guamanians going there. So, you know, watch the Runnin' Rebels take on the Aztecs. 5 a.m. tip-off on this one, KUAM TV 11. There may be some classmates of yours, some relatives, some people you haven't seen in a while. Make sure to check it out. And by the way, it's going to be a really, really good game because both teams playing at a very high level. We will be showing on KUAM TV 11 one of two amazing games, all right? 4 a.m. tip-off. It's either going to be the Browns at the Bengals or the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans or the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Divisional games, all lots and lots of good rivalries here. Make sure to tune in for that. Then at 7:25, also on KUAM TV 11, more divisional games. Well, some of them, because we've got the Philadelphia Eagles going up to East Rutherford. They're going to take on the Giants. KC is going to LA, for those of you who like acronyms, and the Chiefs are going to play the Rams, the Bears, and the Packers. Bills and Dolphins live, KUAM TV and Peacock at 10 a.m. I know Josh Allen didn't make the Pro Bowl. He probably should have, but he's thrown 16 interceptions. I'm not getting in the middle of all that, but they are playing for pride right now. They're also playing for playoff spots, so make sure to check it out. Bills and Dolphins live, 10 a.m. kickoff.
Well, how many of you are ready for the 81st Annual Golden Globes? Hollywood's biggest night is sure to be fun with comedian Joe Koy hosting. He explains how excited he is to represent his Filipino community.
Pure joy. You get to watch TV and see someone that looks like you, shares your same culture. It's inspirational. I know it would be for me. If I was a kid watching the Golden Globes when I was a kid, it'd be like, okay, I can do that. It is possible. So it's more than just a dream gig for me. It's setting dreams for people just like me that aren't Filipino. It just makes it, I don't know. It's big. It's beautiful.
At 11 a.m. Don't miss the 81st Golden Globes. Monday live at 11 a.m. only on CBS TV 11. Well, time for a quick pause, but keep it here. More Weekend Edition when we return.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
The Guam Brewery was established with a simple mission: to deliver the island we call home with fresh craft beer, made with the cleanest and tastiest ingredients. From IPAs, stouts, sours, and everything in between. We are here with good beer to be a catalyst for creativity and community. This is your beer, Guam. Come home to the simple, fresh taste of the locally brewed beer. The Guam Brewery. Guam Brewery reminds you to drink good beer responsibly.
Zoom zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Welcome back to Weekend Edition. Now to our newest inductee into the Culture Club. We link up with the one and only Finadeni Neni.
Culture Club, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
Neni on this track. Gini ni mas takilu, gi hinasoku, I mas takalum, gi kurasonhu.
Hapaday, inaanhu si Elise Bias, aka Finadeni Neni. For me, it just kind of came as a time when I wanted to express myself and when I wanted to feel more connected to my own culture. And doing that helped me to tap into my own experiences and to think about how I relate and how Chamorro culture relates to the world and our place in the world, and helping to elevate and give a voice to our culture, because especially in today's day and age, we need to see our culture out there, and we need to focus on uniting our people, not only in Guam and the Marianas, in Micronesia, in the Pacific Islands, because we're really special. And I think for us to know that about ourselves and to see that in other people is such an important message that we need to continue working towards. The Chamorro language, for me, honestly, I'm still such a novice in speaking Finot Chamorro fluently. And for me, I have certain words and certain vocabulary that bring me back to my culture, bring me back to my childhood and my heritage. And especially for those of us who aren't able to speak the language, at least having some connection or hearing certain words, hearing your friend with the accent saying, "Hey, Par, half a day, what's up?" You know, it's comforting. It brings you back. I'm telling you now, living in Seattle, this accent and my connection to my culture, it can be hard to really feel at certain times. And so when I am with my community of Chamorro Manyalu, you know, I let my Todd come out. It comes out, and it's hard to get back into the box. I was just working one day and listening to the song Pop, Lock, and Drop It, and I just had this feeling like, man, it would be so cool to hear Chamorro rap. And it is starting to evolve. You'll see, you know, in the CNMI and even in Guam, there's folks who are now starting to incorporate the actual Chamorro language into rap and hip hop and into music. And that's so important because music is such a key, you know, element to connect with people and share messages. And so adding the Chamorro language so that people can hear it, so that people can resonate with that, is it's something that we need to do in every aspect of media, content creation, everything that we do, even if it's just little tidbits of Chamorro language or accent every now and then. Culture is so incredibly important to everything that we are. It's the core of who we are. It's what allows us and navigates us through the world, just as our ancestors used the stars to navigate. Our culture, our heritage, our values is what guides us as we're moving forward. And even as the times continue to evolve, even as, you know, we're entering into more modern, technologically advanced times, our core being and our Chamorro culture will always guide us as we interact with people, as we represent our island. And so that element of culture brings the love and the appreciation for who we are, and brings the light that allows us to stand out even in a crowd where they may never even know about our island. But you, with your light and with your connection to your culture, they will know from miles away, from miles away. I do. I think there's so many movements where people are finally realizing how important it is to stay connected to our culture. And with that, they're finding new innovative ways to keep us connected. And that's important, as I was mentioning, because the times are changing. And so we kind of have to evolve with the times. And the younger generation has a way of understanding the new and the old and mixing them together, bringing them together so that we can resonate with a broader audience. We can share messages with a broader audience, and we can bring and unite us all together as we, work towards reliving and bringing out our culture. Because it is delicate. Our culture is delicate, and we do have to put in work to continue fortifying it and strengthening it. And I think they're doing that with their creative ideas and innovation. Hafide! Inaan hu si Elise Bias, aka Fina Deni Neni. And I'm proud to be a part of KUAM's Culture Club. Sidzuas Masi, Bulag Wanaidza.
Culture Club, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
Sports is next. Keep it here. More Weekend Edition in a moment.
There it is. My dad went EV.
It's electric. Don't be shocked.
The guy who's eternally locked out of his email is going EV. Ooh, nice car.
Actually, it's an EV. Rhymes with Kev. Look, EVIP parking.
I get it. You think they don't charge fast enough or go far enough.
Up to 80% charge in 18 minutes. Range? Heck, we could go to Mexico.
Are you Kevin Bacon?
But EVs aren't going to stop being a thing. Look at the Ioniq 6.
Maca mushroom frap for Kevin.
So just make the leap already.
Okay, watch this. Blue or red? Blue light, red light. I can also make it play nature sounds if you want.
Let's just drive.
Introducing the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 with up to 360-mile range. When it comes to EVs, we're thinking of every mile.
What's better than a cheesy bite? Cheese in every bite. That's why we invented stuffed crust pizza, topped and stuffed with almost a pound of cheese. There's only one original, the original stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
KUAM Sports Weekend Roundup is brought to you by Gatorade. Greatness starts with G.
All right, KUAM Sports on location today, coming to you from Run Guam. The one and only Coach Desmond Mandel is here. Coach, thanks for having me, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by our shop.
Okay, so it's the last sports report of the year 2023, and we are going to talk about sports psychology today, and that is why I've enlisted my good friend Des, because you not only coach kids in track and field, which I think is really interesting because you're dealing with a lot of different athletic disciplines in both sports, but then you also coach basketball. You're coaching GW this year. Two sports that, are interesting because you have to not only be obviously very, very physically developed, but also mentally tough. Track and field, you're not exactly facing an opponent. You're basically competing against yourself. Basketball, obviously there's someone standing right across the court from you who's trying to, eliminate whatever plans you want to do. So how do you actually get young people to develop like that mindset of being tough and having the right approach?
I think first off is discipline for anything, any sport. They got to be disciplined, and knowing that whatever you did in practice, you got to make sure that you execute that in the game or on the race. So especially with track, not a lot of people think of it as a strategy or a strategic sport or having to have a race plan and whatnot. But when you get down to it, especially when you get to the national level, even as the 100 meters, you have to make sure that you're patient on your start, make sure that you have your drive phase correct, get into your top end speed, and then the last part, making sure you're relaxed and not overstraining. And again, those are little things that, unless you're at that higher level, you may not realize, but it's important that you're able to execute that. And the only way to do that is that you're disciplined, that you're not rushing, again, that you're not panicking when the next person comes up to you. And again, making sure that you're able to mentally withstand any of the pressures that are involved. Yeah, and I think mental prep is it's definitely nowadays getting a lot more popular, but it's definitely underutilized in a lot of ways. So with our athletes, and even when I'm coaching at high school level, I tell them weeks up, leading up to the All-Island race or competition, mental prep. So in other words, go through the race, right? Imagine a perfect race and how that would feel. Imagine every 100 meters of that race and how it's going to go and what are you going to do. Then imagine the worst case scenario. What might happen? How are you going to react? Imagine somebody goes out fast and you have to hold back, or imagine you're the one that's in the lead and everybody's following you. Again, how are you going to react? And the more that you go through it, the better you're able to react to whatever's happening in the actual race. And it's funny because my brother Derek, when he was at the Olympics, right after his race, he was interviewed and he said, "How did it feel?" And he said, pretty much because he'd done so much mental prep leading up to it, it almost felt like he'd been there before. Mm-hmm. And I think that really there is really something to it. It's just knowing how preparing yourself for whatever can happen and every type of possibility. And again, so when you do see it, you're able to adapt.
And that's an interesting mindset, Des, because that comes from what we've known like about football all the way from college all the way up to the NFL, is they really preach situational awareness. And they said, if we can put you in a certain 3rd and 10 from your own 42, down by 3, they practice that and everything. So when it comes time in the game, half of why you mess up is because you're freaking out because you've never been in that situation before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know for football, they do the 2-minute drills at the end of practice, whatever, where they try and simulate the last 2 minutes of game, no timeouts or whatever. In basketball, we would do that as well. We would do some drills where, okay, we have 40 seconds left. We're down by 4 on defense. What are we going to do? What are we going to do defensively? When we get the ball, what are we going to do offensively? So there are definitely things, on those team sports that are more obvious. And then again, on the running sports where it's not as obvious, it still is important, again, to simulate and put yourself in that position. But I think at the end of the day is when it comes down to what we're talking about is you got to have a competitor mindset. And if we're talking about track side, I would talk to some of my athletes and I tell them, it's like, yes, we have workouts and we have a pace, but then we have the race. And I don't need just pacers. I don't need somebody that's comfortable at the certain pace. I need a racer. I need somebody that can adapt to how that race is going, whether it's fast or slow, and compete. And again, what it comes down to is if we're racing for medals, racing for championships or whatever, you have to have that mentality is, okay, I'm ready to beat this person, not necessarily run this time or run this pace or run this, at this rate. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm competing, I'm racing this person. And if they go out hard, I don't care if it's faster than what I'm supposed to, I'm going to follow them and I'm going to fight. And I always tell them, it's like the main thing I preach is get yourself in the battle, get yourself in the war, and then win that war.
And Sherwin Payette is here doing great work at the middle school level for cross country. So, Coach, good to see you, man. Happy New Year.
As well. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Okay, let's talk about developing what Coach Des was just mentioning about developing, the competitive spirit, like a strong mind, being a good teammate. But doing that for athletes that you're dealing with when they're still very, very impressionable and, they soak everything in. But how do you really reinforce that message?
Well, at the middle school level, you want them to just first have them enjoy running because, running is a sport where it's very tough on the mind. So first thing with young children, we want them to enjoy running. And once they find that love for running, you kind of have competitive games and try to build their base. And from their base, you start incorporating some speed work in there. And really, they don't realize it's speed work. You kind of make it like competitive games. And from there, we build on and just progress through it. Yeah. So, when you're going to shoot these free throws, you need your legs, you need that mental aspect. And the sport that I coach, right, running, it's a lot of that, right? It trains your legs, it trains your mental ability. And like you mentioned, this just transferable sport.
There you go. Well, running is, of course, a technique that transcends sports as well as the mindset. So, Coach, thanks so much for your insight, man, and your recommendation.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, really good. Here at Run Guam, finding out what makes good athletes up here.
KUAM Sports Weekend Roundup is brought to you by Gatorade. Greatness starts with G.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Don't need to worry, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa.
life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Zoom zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Now for your weekend Codestone Creamery Birthday Club shoutout submitted on KUAM.com.
All right, weekend birthday shout-outs starting on Saturday. Jamie Cook gets a birthday shout-out that says, happy birthday from the family and Uncle Bill. Happy birthday to you, Jamie. Johnny Calvo, happy birthday number 6 to Cool Kid Johnny. Love your family and friends. And then on Sunday, Claire Calvo, birthday blessings to the one and only Claire, wishing you, Claire, another year of love and light and all of your family and friends and business associates and classmates, including me. She's my 7th grade classmate. We all say we love you very much and we appreciate you. Happy birthday, everyone.
That's it for us here on Weekend Edition. For more news, go to KUAM.com or visit us at KUAM News on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. You can also watch us on Peacock. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama. Have a safe weekend, everyone.
Ali, Mogitim, Hafide Zantiro, Rananim, Kasalele, Lengwo, and Yagwe. Welcome to another edition of the One Micronesia Show. And before we start, I want to say happy holidays from our family here at KUAM to yours. So let's kick this show off. And for this one, a very, very special one for me because we had the opportunity to participate in Operation Christmas Drop this year, and it was amazing. So here we go. We start off with the push-off ceremony, and then we head on to the official Christmas Drop 2023. Hafide and Mogitin, I had the opportunity to take part in the world's longest running humanitarian mission, Operation Christmas Drop 2023. This year there was air crews from Japan, Canada, Australia, Republic of Korea, the Philippines joined the U.S. Pacific Air Forces to deliver holiday cheer and essential supplies to remote islands across the Micronesian region. It all kicked off with a push-off ceremony where there were dignitaries from both military, foreign, and local government.
Operation Christmas Drop embodies the innocence and humanitarianness of the camaraderie.
Operation Christmas Drop truly captures the Christmas spirit, delivering supplies, clothing, rice, fishing equipment, and toys to outer islands.
And just like that, Operation Christmas Drop 2023 is a go. I boarded the C-130 for the first time in my life and was excited. As the bank ramp closes,